pass your luck check. It's
The No Class Podcast.
with your hosts, Eddie
And Matt.
and Matt.
And the dragon.
The two worst words in the English language.
Oh my goodness.
So how are you doing today?
Queasy, but I'm going to make it.
All right. Well, we just had some not very good barbecue.
Yeah.
I'll put it out there.
Yeah.
So the whole mood of this is sunk into the depths.
No, well, I don't know about that, but it's like I already had an opinion. I wanted to see if for once we were on the same page, culinary, gastronomically, you know.
We should have got that to go in hindsight, because I have been saying maybe just as a little goof, we should do some side barbecue channel review sort of things like, hey, here's a 5-minute video of me and Matt trying this barbecue and going thumbs up or thumbs down, or give you a little tip of what we like and what we don't.
Yeah.
And that one would have been a thumbs down.
Yeah. The flavor of the ribs weren't bad, but they really aren't that flavorful. I don't like the texture. That's actually competition style, which to some people, that's all the rage, but you're not running a competition. You're running a restaurant.
I'm okay with that texture. Now, I would prefer falling off the bone, but I'm okay with that texture.
And I'm okay with it too.
If it's flavorful.
I mean, I didn't have to fight to get it off the bone. I'll say that. It really wasn't that flavorful. So then you figure, well, I'll dip it in the sauce. That sauce was almost marinara.
Really?
I did not like that barbecue sauce.
And I would say I kind of did.
Interesting. So we can agree to disagree.
But I don't like a sweet sauce. Did you think it was sweet?
Yeah.
Not me, but
Interesting.
that...
That's why I said, is this marinara or whatever? Marinari?
You've been to Italy, right?
Yeah. What's that?
So that barbecue needed sauce so badly that maybe just... Oh, yeah. But maybe that's why I like the sauce, because it was like, hey, at least it's covering up the taste and adding some moisture to this.
Which is sad, it's really sad. And actually, I found the ribs were moist. They were juicy, greasy, really, if anything.
Really
very
greasy.
But like I said, that's not my favorite texture on a rib. I want it falling off the bone. And then the brisket.
That was the real tragedy.
Yeah, because
that was the real tragedy.
And I've learned, like, for years, I always said, for me, the yardstick with barbecue joint is their ribs. But honestly, for a lot of people in Texans, it's the brisket. And whereas I thought the brisket was moist, but not terribly moist. Eddie believed it was
not mine, but I mean,
dry.
We could have gotten different slices.
And we asked for lean. Maybe if we
did you ask for lean?
I didn't, but
yeah,
I figured while they were cutting yours, they cut yours at the same time they were cutting mine. Who knows? But mine was somewhat moist.
Ugh.
But it was very bland. It just didn't have any real flavor.
It almost tasted like roast beef or whatever, you know.
Yeah, no, that's why I'd say it tastes like I was eating roast beef. Yeah.
So if you gave me mashed potatoes and gravy,
yeah, you'd probably been happy as a clam.
But even then, it was not nearly as more, because you talk about like brisket,
yeah.
all off the bone. Well, okay, but I pretty much want mine to, if you run the fork across it or whatever, it's going to almost shred out.
Yeah. And the other thing is, I will say,
it's falling apart. Like when you hold up your piece to wiggle it, it may start. It's right on that verge where it's like it's going to break apart. Yeah, it's just so overloaded.
Yeah, well, that's like we've gotten spoiled by like old Sunbird. Brian's stuff, was a lot of times. I mean, it's juicy. Like you bite into it, and it's a juicy piece of meat, very flavorful, very juicy. It's not ever dry, really. And so we've been spoiled. That it's very juicy and very flavorful. So yeah, that brisket was disappointing. Now I will say, I thought they did give me quite a bit of brisket, and we got 3 good-sized ribs, and I got part of another one. So someplace they're kind of stingy with their meat portion.
But then again, they did charge you 2 prices.
They charged me, 2 I mean, as I always say, they were very proud of their barbecue. I mean, really proud. But and that's one of those things that for me is like, okay, if you're going to charge this price, you better bring it. At least the portion's there, but the actual quality of the barbecue. We haven't even mentioned Carter's barbecue here in Longview, Texas, and a lot of people
failed us
locally are big fans of Carter's. There are people that when I first moved here, where can I get barbecue? Carter's. I'm like, wow.
So you might get ran out of town on a rail now.
Yeah, I know, if this gets out, but I mean, I'm just not.
We are recording this, Oh well, it's gonna get out.
But you got to know me. I mean, I'm gonna, at least I'm gonna be straight.
Now I have
with
to
you.
bleep it.
Honest, yeah. But no.
Okay, well, of course, the barbecue for a barbecue place is the gold standard. But what did you think of the sides?
Actually, I'll say that was some damn good coleslaw. And I almost want to think they probably made that themselves, because that was the problem with some other places. And I've seen this really, and I love being a Texan, got here as quick as I could. Hooray, Texas. But like in Louisiana, and we love some food or whatever, you could go to a place and have decent barbecue, but the sides would be just as good or better than the damn barbecue. I came to Texas, and I think these old boys are like, my barbecue's good, and I'm going to rest on my laurels right there. Like the sides are...
Well, yeah, you go to a lot of barbecue places, and they don't have anything but chips if you're lucky.
Yeah, not with Costco. What do you call it? That food supplier for like
Cisco.
Yeah, it's like a tub of Cisco crap that they dole out so much for you. No, that was really good, crisp, delicious coleslaw.
Which is what I like in coleslaw, is crisp.
Crisp.
But I also like as little dressing sauce as you can get away with.
Very moist, yeah.
And that one, it was riding the line. It had the crispiness. I would say that's the best thing I had there.
And you know what? And I'm agree with you. In fact, I figured we'd do this, so I held off on saying it. I was like, wouldn't that some good coleslaw? But now the beans, like they just came out of a can. These were just beans. They didn't even taste like, they weren't barbecue beans. Like they didn't barbecue them or put some, and they didn't even put their own barbecue sauce in it.
I need to talk to John Hirschberg. He's up in Wichita, I believe. And there was a place that was Fisherman's Market or Fisherman's Wharf, and they had the best freaking coleslaw in the world. That was like the claim to fame for me.
Wow.
Like the fish and everything was good, but the coleslaw, that's one place where you could go and go, I'll just get the coleslaw. And I'd been like, all right. Yeah. It was that good.
Well, that's like Dudley's. His is very...
We'll get some coleslaw.
Yeah, I tell you what. Dudley's, it's Cajun. It's a Cajun restaurant, seafood Cajun. They do like a blackened coleslaw. It's crisp, it's delicious, but it's black. It's got pepper. It's got a lot of flavor. I really love it. It's very... I've been known to like go there and be like, hey, do you not want your coleslaw? No, give it to me. I mean, because they give it to you as an app.
Which is what I'm trying to think. Like, have I given you my coleslaw?
You probably didn't. If you did, you probably regret it, because I tell you. But I know that, remember. Like when me, you, and Gary went, I've been on this while I'm sitting there, because they give it to you complimentary. That's what I meant to say. It's a complimentary app. I've been known to go, hey, bring me another bowl of that, coleslaw, because it's delicious. It's very crisp. It's not very moist, super moist.
Yeah. And
it's a little like they blackened it, i.e. it's kind of peppery, but not overpowering. Like even people are like, oh no, I don't like hot stuff. Hey, it's not going to burn you, but it's got a little bite, so anyway.
Okay, and then as we continue barbecue chat here.
We've just lost everyone.
Not Larry.
Larry's our boy.
He's perked up right now.
Right. He's like,
you're finally talking. Yeah, you're finally talking about something I want to hear about. But here's the other thing. So the other side we had was beans.
That's what I said. Those beans were like they came out of a can.
Yeah. Because they're pinto beans. Would you rather have pinto beans or like kidney beans with your barbecue here?
I would want barbecued pinto beans.
Really?
Or if you're going to do beans out of a can, you remember the one that had the guy with his tongue sticking out, that ranch style beans or whatever? Do you remember the ones?
Because they got the black label.
Yeah, black with the yellow and red band. If you're going to take beans out of a can, go buy a big can of those at Sam's and dump those out or whatever. Like if you're just going to do...
But those are not pintos, are they? Those are kidneys, aren't they?
Yeah. But that's delicious. But I mean,
so I'm putting in the vote for kidney beans while you put in a vote for pintos.
No,
you said pintos and I said kidney beans.
Sure, fair enough.
But I mean, if you want to change your vote,
I'm saying what comes out of that can we're talking about.
I'm pretty sure those are kidneys.
Yeah, no. So I'm saying, I love kidney beans,
because the beans that we just had were a lot like pork and beans.
That's what I'm saying.
Those are pintos.
That was a can of pork and beans that they just bought a big, I think, can of it, and they just dump it out in a warmer and sitting there heated. Whoop-de-doo. Now here's what kills me. I saw the guy cutting parts of the brisket off the brisket before he went to cut it up for us. Still with both hands. Podnas had the best damn beans, and one of the things was they would throw the brisket leavings off in there, and that brisket would melt down and work its way in. Boy, those were the best damn beans in the world.
Yeah, a lot of people are sleeping on that.
It's like, what are you going to do with
it's
all those
free money,
shribbins and
it's free real estate.
Yeah, throw it off in your beans, and man, I went out of my way. Like I was like, I get two sides. I want beans and more beans from Podnas, and then you better, stay away. But anyway.
And which Podnas is basically like franchise,
small
fast foody type barbecue, but I mean, it's really good.
Well, I love, before I came to Texas, they had Texas toast that they would butter and run through this little thing that would toast it real quick. So you got toasted Texas toast, and you got those delicious beans with bits of brisket in it. Their coleslaw was good. And I'm not a big potato salad guy. Their potato salad's on point too. Like I said, Louisiana, the sides were really good there. The barbecue was adequate, but what kind of made up the deal was the sides were really good there.
For potato salad, you won't believe this, but I'm particular. And I like more like the German potato salad, because a lot of times it's like, here's some potatoes swimming in a pool of mayo or mustard, and you're like, no.
Yeah.
So for potato salad, I like it, but it's got to be a lot more on the potato salad and less on the mayo salad side.
But that's like, you're a big banana pudding guy, but you want a really good portion of nanners in your pudding.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Because you get that a lot of places, and there is no nana.
Where the hell's the nanners? The nanners are cheap.
And go on top of that and don't put any cookies in there too, and you're like, what the what?
Yeah, there's just a bunch of pudding.
Yeah.
That's some bomb.
Banana flavored puddings.
Yeah, put some nanners in there, put some cookies in there. Because they ain't like, you can get them off-brand Nilla wafers. They're dirt cheap.
Who's going to know the difference?
Yeah.
But you know where I had a really good nana pudding at the other day, don't you?
Where's that?
Dragon's Nest.
Oh, that really?
Now that they're got that grill going, and I'll tell you, since you brought up like the garlic bread, I got the like chicken finger basket, which for those of you not in the South, I guess, that's when you get the chicken strips and some like Texas toast and some gravy.
Yeah, some gravy dipping
and fries usually.
Yeah.
But they had like garlic toast with the chicken finger basket. That was like the best. That was almost like what is it? Once Upon a Time in Mexico, where Johnny Depp is going and shooting the cooks when they make the food too good. He's like, I got to level it out. I got to keep it even. And I was like, this bread does not belong here. This should be in the finest restaurants in the world. So maybe Dragon's Nest is one of the finest restaurants in the world now.
I'm guessing this is one of our, I guess, first chance to talk about it since we did, because it was 2 weeks ago. Probably last time we recorded.
We do this podcast every 2 weeks.
That's true. And so that
when we can
later, so
when
that
we remember,
day after we recorded, we went and we had I tried their cuisine for the first time. At least I did, and our club members or whatever.
Yeah, this is how cool our local game club is that we bought food for everybody at the latest meetup.
For everybody that showed up, and so. I'm telling you, hands down, everyone raved about the food.
Yep.
And I won't lie. I mean, I didn't set the bar real high, but I'd already, from what I've known of, the folks that own it, they weren't going to half butt it. They were going to bring it. But no, I was very impressed. The food was very good. Everyone raved what they got. I'm telling you, even like the spicy fries were delicious and not real soggy. The burger was really good. The patty melts were good. Gary really enjoyed it. I mean, everyone we talked at the table, like, how'd you like yours? How'd you like yours? Oh, it was great. It was awesome. Whatever.
Well, the other thing for me is that I know those guys really well, the ones doing the cooking.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I can trust the food here too.
Right. Yeah, no, whenever I saw the one kid come out from the back, I said, hey, props. You guys, you've nailed this down. You've nailed it down. Gavin. Well, no, but there was another kid. I know Gavin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So no, I know Gavin by name, but thank you if I hadn't. But no, he was whatever young man came out from behind there. I gave him props.
Steven.
Yeah, there we go. But not Steven. Steven's the owner. Get out of here. No.
So he's not a young man to you?
Well,
Well, to you.
Yeah. I was going to say, I'm old as dirt. But anyway.
So we hope you've enjoyed our transition to the Food Network here. The
Redneck Food Network.
So for those of you who also
put your pants back on,
follow the NTRPG Facebook page, I'm like, boy, that turned into a food blog so fast you didn't even notice it. With Bad Mike going around talking about the pork sandwiches and what was the other green pepper burgers or something like that?
Yeah, the Hatch chili burgers.
Yeah,
that was on his first.
It turned into a food blog so slowly we didn't even notice.
Well, that's like I was teasing him when we were on Talking Crit about, hey, can we get more upshots of your nostrils?
So see, we could be doing that too with our little barbecue side channel, videos.
Sure, yeah. Well, it hurt my heart if we had to drive, to parts unknown and eat different barbecue at different places.
Parts unknown. So we are definitely not stalling and making this stuff up because we are at Casa de Matt in the game room.
In the game room.
Which means I can't run back to my printer and print out my little show notes and stuff and remember how this all organizes. I think this is episode 73.
Wow.
I can give you that much.
Wow.
And then we talk about the long con, which there's not much to say now. It's next weekend,
Imminent.
and we've sold about 100 badges in the last 90 days.
Yeah. Talk about just mind blowing. And we knew, and we talk about everyone pausing at the last minute, but talk about piling in at the last minute,
which does not typically happen to us. You might be like, oh, all events, everybody jumps in. Not for us. Usually it's not that big a jump.
Yeah.
As soon as we open the ticket sales,
we sell a glut.
And then when we come back from NTRPG, everybody remembers that we exist.
Yeah. And we sell a little trickle in, whatever.
And then when game signups are, we'll get another bump.
Yeah.
But this is really late in the game.
Unheard of. Yeah. And we're tickled pink. I mean, I'm so happy that this is the most tickets we've ever sold.
Yeah. And for you guys that religiously listen to the podcast, if you go back, like, I don't know, 8 episodes, you'll hear us crying about how is this even going to happen? And now it's like, holy crap, do we have too many people?
Yeah. It's to where now we need more games. And so for the people we have, so we actually stopped sales. And I was tickled that like we're selling like never before. But then we were like, oops, we might not have enough games for this many people.
Yeah, because we
could sell
just
more.
sell and sell and sell to capacity and be like, if you don't get a game, you don't get a game.
But no, we're not going to do that. And we definitely want these newcomers to have a good experience and come back again. You know?
It's never been about lining our pockets. It's about
because it would never
having a good
be.
time.
No,
well,
I mean,
if we wanted to do that, the best way to do it would be to be a Comic-Con and everything con.
No, and that's what people that I've tried. A few people have tried to go like, you guys are money rubbing, and it's like, dude, if we were here to make a buck, this is not what we would be doing. We would be a Comic Con, costume con, cosplay. What do you call it? Board game, card game, blah, 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 whatever. That one of these everything cons, I like to call it. And we're not that, we've kept our focus pure and we don't make any money because of that. And that's the only reason why we stress is the hotel ain't free, and we try to bring special guests for people who then don't come to even see these special guests. That why do we bring these people in here? But we put up in a hotel room. You got to feed them. You got to,
Yeah, it's going to probably our hotel cost is going to be about $5,000.
Yeah. And so that's where when this like, I love, there's one jerk weasel that recently was like $50. And it's like, yeah, the same thing we've been charging since day one. Yeah. Go check it out.
Do the quick math. If it's going to cost us $5,000 for the hotel, if we sell 100 badges at $50, we break even.
Ding, ding, ding. And we're the guys that anytime we've ever made a little money, anyone pays attention. Like last year, we gave away koozies, a bunch of koozies with a cool design on it, and they ain't cheap.
Well, yeah,
we're giving away dice bags.
Spent close to $1,000 probably on just the swag that we're going to give away.
Mm-hmm.
And then we still have, the cost of printing T-shirts and all the other little bits, blabs, it's the little things like we had to buy paper for this or we have to buy ink for that. So, I mean, when you look at it, it doesn't make money, but if you just said you're going to break even, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, we've always said as long as we break even and don't
it's
go
the
in the
losing.
Hole. Yeah, if we start, we love you guys, but not enough that we're going to go in the hole for anybody.
We lost money on the first one.
We did, but barely.
Yeah, we had to work at it.
Yeah, but I'll say that not to throw shit at any other cons. But other cons have went up over the last 2 and 3 years by $10 here, $20 there. Some of them, I swear, almost seems like they've doubled in price.
Like NTRPG, man, those guys sold out. That was the one con that I could come up off the top of my head that we could pick on. That people would go like, this is good natured instead of like, fuck you, Gary Con.
Because anybody knows that we love the NTRPG guys. They're family. Hell, half of them are coming to our con and we're so tickled. This is what we've been wanting down the line. But I'll say that we've held the line at $50 because we understand these are tough times. So it really, really gets under our skin when this one or two yahoos have been like, well, you guys charging. Blah, blah, blah. This is the same thing we've always charged. And honestly, the hotel room is not freaking free. It's like, I love it. It's like, well, why don't you just pay for it? Really? I mean,
have it in my barn.
Yeah.
I'll let you use my barn for free.
Yeah. It's like, come on.
Thanks for thinking about me, bud.
Yeah, literally. But anyway, enough about that. So LongCon's almost here. We're really excited. There's
nothing we can do about it now.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, it's happening. And that's the thing I'll tell you about LongCon. It's going to happen. Hell or high water.
Knock on wood now.
Yeah, right. Here, let me knock in there too. But we're really excited. Like I said, this is the most tickets we've ever sold. We got a lot of our friends coming back. and friends that we know from NTRPG that this is their first time coming. We're excited to have like Bill Barsh. Really glad he's
That's
coming.
going to be awesome.
Yeah, Bill's a great guy, and you know, definitely a friend of ours. Like, it really felt good when we went to GaryCon and we walked in the vending area. We barely set a foot in the room. We heard Matt, Eddie, and we look around.
Get out.
Yeah, it's like there's Bill like pushing some customers aside to come shake our hand. People that had like money in hand, like, where are you going? He's like, shut up. Yeah, and he comes over to give us a hug.
Which you reminded me, we're going to have our very own con exclusive cover of his adventure.
Yeah, how cool is that?
And there's only going to be 20 to 25 of them. And I'll tell you right now, if you don't buy them, I'm buying the leftovers.
I'm telling you, I'm already figuring the 2 are going to get, you know what I'm saying? You know?
Well, the rest of them will go into the con trust fund.
But yeah, how exciting is that? You know?
I know. I'm like, man, I should have done that for mine. I should have had a Carnage at the casino
like
long con cover.
Exclusive or something, or long con cover.
Because I don't think this is an exclusive adventure. But it's got might be.
Cover.
But it's got an exclusive cover for sure.
Collectability.
And it's super cool.
Exactly. No, it just, I'm so excited. I hate, that's like I said, the only downside to running a con is there's so many things happening at our con that I wouldn't want to play in or be involved with, that I'm too busy running a con, so I can't. Like, I'd love to play in these games.
Well, I'll tell you that I pretty much never play in a game at the con, but somebody is running the Transformers RPG, and I was like, fudge it.
You know, it's funny. Here,
I'm in there.
Yeah, let me pat myself on the back. When I was looking down the list of games and saw someone had added a Transformers game, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna let Eddie know. Dude, be sure to play. I know you love Transformers. Oh, son of a bitch, he's already in the game.
Yeah,
whatever.
That was not even a question.
Yeah, right. And so, no, that's great. Because, I mean, as much as I remember, what is it, year before last or whenever it was, when we had, that one guy from the olden days or whatever, which I feel bad. I can't think of his name right now. But
Howard Johnson?
Yeah. And Eddie was like, hey, but, you know, I went ahead and put you in his game because, buddy, you go have some fun. I went, no, I'm helping run con. He's like, go ahead, I got it. And I'm like, all right then, you know. So very thoughtful. Eddie's my bud, you know. And
that was Nicole's favorite game of the con.
Was it really? Or are you pulling my leg?
I am pulling your leg way off.
I would hope so. Yeah.
If she's listening to this one with Doug, he probably just got slapped across the face. That was one of those instant reactions, like.
I had to slap some man. Sorry, honey, you were available. But anyway, no, I was in that game too. And like, even at one point, I'm like, I was going to say something. I didn't have to. I love Doug. Hold on to Nicole. She's a keeper because she got her back up and she had no problem defending herself from his shenanigans. We can't telling tales out of school. But anyway, don't talk bad about a special guest.
He ain't coming back.
Yeah, and I hope not. Anyway, did I say that out loud? Anyway, yeah, but no, we definitely, though, we've got, you know, like I said, Bill Barsh coming, and John Watson, and so many other people you've heard us talk about a million times. I won't run that list down again, but love these folks, you know, Brendan LaSalle, etc. So, you know, we're just really excited, you know, about them coming.
Super excited.
Yeah, and just love them all to death. And so
hopefully not that far.
Yeah, but definitely, you know, if you can avail yourself of the special games, then, you know, I wish I could play in them. So you definitely let me live vicariously through you. I want to hear your stories or whatever, but come out, game, play. If you're someone out there who's like, well, I didn't get a ticket yet, but I've been on the fence. We might allow some walk-ups, and definitely if you want to run some games, yeah, come on.
Well, I am tempted to turn off the walk-up thing too.
Yeah,
but we've had a few people that are like, "What about me?" And I'm like, it's almost to the point where it's like, if I said yes to you walking up, come on out, but everybody else, stay away.
We're talking about someone that we've seen and game with and hung out with and shared drinks with a bunch of times, Sean, who originally thought with work he wasn't going to make it, and something changed at work, and he seems really excited about coming. Sean, I don't know what I saw his last name. Yeah, Pointer or whatever, but super great guy, and I'm so excited he's coming. He's one of our North Texas friends. I think this is his first time attending our con, I believe.
Well, is he your North Texas friend, or is he your North Texas acquaintance?
I would say friend, yeah.
Okay. No, for me, it's more of an acquaintance. I always say hi and all that, but I'm definitely looking forward to getting to know him better as these go on.
Well, I'll say that, like, this year at the con, like, he sought me out. He's like, let's have drinks. We sat and chatted, and it just felt like we've been friends for 100 years.
Yeah,
it was
exactly.
the darndest thing, you know.
Yep.
But he's just such a super, super great guy.
Yeah.
And I'll say this, I'm gonna call him out. There was a situation where, you know, she's the gal that's been one of the winches forever.
Jessica?
Jessica. She'd had maybe a drink, one too many or something. And there was a guy that was kind of buzzing around that gave off a little bit of a creep vibe. And Sean made a point to like escort her to her room, squire her like a gentleman, and make sure she got there safely.
And you're still friends with him after he did that to you?
I know. Can you believe? Damn you, Sean. No, but anyway, haha. But no, I'll just say, I mean, what a great guy. You know?
Yeah.
What,
no,
what
he's one that
fine human being.
where I'm like, if I get to know him better, I got a feeling we'll click real good.
Super great guy. So yeah,
he'll be in the inner circle before you know
and
it.
We'll found out later that he's some
murdered a bunch
of
of people
or something. But,
you didn't hear about the bodies in his basement?
Yeah, but no. He's so I'm really excited. But as always, when we said it, I won't. Why am I saying it again? But I will
say it again.
That we did our con because we want to spend more than one time a year with a lot of these people we love from North Texas, and it's so great that a lot of them are finally they're trickling over. But we're finally getting more and more of those folks,
like the West Texas guys.
Exactly. We can dream one day, our love affair from afar, but those guys will show up because I love those guys too, definitely. All right, so Long Con, it's going to happen, coming soon. Really exciting. We're going to have some cool stuff as always. So yeah,
and we're doing the live show, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, we're going to do a live show. That hurts my heart. All right.
Well, we always have something good to talk about, like the topic today.
Yay.
But first,
since
I don't have my sheet, I have to imagine.
Use your imaginary list.
It says, blame Matt for COVID. Didn't. Okay, check. Books. You got any books, comic books?
Okay, I'm back up one quick aside. Do we want to tell them about the cool new thing we're doing this year that's brand spanking new this year?
No.
Okay, great.
BJ?
Yes, thank you. Come on ahead. No, Bingo?
BINGO?
Bingo was his name,
Yes, this is top secret, Matt. Make sure you don't tell them about it. No, go ahead.
Okay. No, well, I'm just saying that, I'm sure other cons will steal this idea like they did our old GM courtesy room. But
well, we were the first con to think of having games at the con. So
exactly. Hello. But or special guests for that matter.
Everybody else was just standing around looking at each other.
Yeah. So we're going to have a bingo card for every con attendee. And if you get your
see
bingo.
Everyone there, then you get a bingo.
Yeah, and when you bingo, you come see us. We're gonna have some cool prizes to give you for bingo. So part of a fun thing while you're here at the con playing games and having fun, a side thing will be you can play a game of bingo, and there won't be a bunch of blue hairs around, with little ink stampers, haha. But definitely, when you bingo, come see us at the desk. We'll have a cool prize for you. So that's a fun little extra little game in a game. Con fun shenanigans.
Yeah, and this is an idea we've had on the back burner for quite a while.
Yeah.
And now we're implementing it.
Exactly. So, yeah.
Because we didn't have enough to do.
Yeah. We're gluttons for punishment, but we do it for you.
I will say here, too, there's no programs this year.
Yeah.
We're going to use your phone, or we'll have it posted on the wall, but we're not going to print it out and hand it to everybody. So,
yeah, I mean, this is the electronic age. You have your smartphone, or we've got our trifold that's got all the games listed, and I do it by time slot and by day. Like on the trifold, I have, anyway, yeah, you get the picture. If not, there's a trifold that's got all the games listed where you can add your name on or whatever. There's an open slot. And then we're going to have a printout like at the
airport.
At the airport. You can look up on the wall behind me or Eddie.
At gate so-and-so.
Yeah, and it'll be like, oh, you're at this table at this time with so-and-so.
But people always crack me up when they're like, which table am I at? Well, there's like 10 tables.
Yeah.
It's right. I can see it right now. I can't tell you which one it is, but it's one of these 10 tables.
And I'll say at the Hilton, that other hotel, on them, we were in 2 and 3
we
different
don't burn
rooms.
bridges.
Yeah, we don't. We're not.
We
spiteful.
blow them up.
We're not spiteful at all. Fuck you, Garden. But anyway, but no, we were in 3 different rooms. Now we're going to be in one great big open room with the vendors around the periphery. So the cool thing is, it's not going to be like, well, what room is it in? If you're in this room with tables, you're in the room.
You're in the right room.
And we have standees on our table, so you'll find your table.
I hope so.
Easily, yeah.
So we'll see. Plus, it's the first year in a new space, so we have kinks to work out.
Oh yeah, bear with us. But definitely, I want to say another thing real quick. No outside food.
No outside food or drinks.
And so Hillengarten was kind of lenient about that, and thank goodness, because I get the first year they really dropped the ball, And then they got mad the second year when they really swung for the fences with the food they made for us. But people who remember the year before were like, oh, fool me once. And they bring in their own pizza and DoorDashing or whatever. Give this new hotel a chance. So far they've shown us a lot of stuff that really impressed me, how professional they are. And so give their food a chance, give everything a chance. But
you don't have to eat there every meal.
No.
You just can't eat it in the con space.
Yeah. And one cool thing about it, unlike the Helen Garden Inn, was really not within walking distance of anything other than a Sonic, which doesn't really have sit-down eating. But there's a Papacitas that shares the parking lot, and that's a lot of people love that Mexican food there. Gary's a big fan, Double R. There's Lizzie's Diner, which is is it close? It's close for renovation right now, but not far away though. There is a Jason's Deli, which love me some Jason's.
The most famous restaurant in Longview.
Long John Silver's, yeah. Ugh.
There's a face group here, and that is their running joke. Is that Long John Silver is so great, and it's like. You have beat that horse to death.
And hilariously enough, on a goof, because Heather had heard all that, she went and tried to get some today. They kept her waiting 30 minutes. One piece was practically frozen, and one piece was like overdone and brown and kind of it absorbed your life. No, it was she threw it away. Well, she fed it to Lucy, same principle. And even Lucy tried to eat the cardboard it came in before she'd eat the actual fish. So I mean, anyway, I was like, "You trying to kill my dog?" But
anyway. That's pretty messed up.
Yeah.
It's not fit for a dog. There are those times when it applies.
There's someone out there who's like, I love Long John Silver's. I'm offended. Well, God bless you.
Well, some of that too with your chain is like, wasn't it like there's the good Denny's and then there's the bad Denny's on the other part of town.
And there's also an IHOP that's with relative walking / definitely a short car drive.
Oh, and they decided to throw in breakfast, so it's free breakfast if you got a hotel room.
You got a hotel, you have free complimentary breakfast, and we'll see how that goes. That should be awesome,
Oh, and since you're bringing this up here, if you guys have any problems with the hotels, come talk to us, and we will talk to them.
And I have told a lot of people that already in private chats, but don't go back posting some email or rant later. That I didn't see you first. Come and talk to me and Eddie. We'll make things right. We'll be if you're like, oh, I'm bashful or whatever about going to the manager, and come to us, tell us we're your pals, and we'll go crawl up their ass for you.
Yeah, but I mean, give them those 5-star reviews, because in the service industry, if it's not 5 stars, it might as well be a 0.
Yeah, it's the craziest thing. But it's like the first year we were at the other hotel, some people phoned it in and said, I'll give them a 6 or 7. Apparently, if it's not a 9 or a 10, it might as well be a 0.
Yep.
I think it's stupid it works that way, but that's the way it works.
Yep.
And so give them rave reviews, or like Mama said, if you can't say nothing nice, don't say nothing at all. But come to us if you have any problems.
Yep.
Yeah.
Happy to take care of it, but I don't anticipate any problems. I think it's going to be fantastic.
I'm very optimistic, and I mean that. By turn, everything they've done filled me with confidence, and that they're more professional than the last place we were at. And what's really sad was we were kind of chummy, real world pally with some of the people that ran the last one, and you'd figured they would do an even better job because they're your pal. No, I think they were like, you're our pals, we'll phone it in. You'll forgive us if we don't give 100%.
Yep.
We ain't pals with these folks, so they're trying to keep it professional. I think we'll see.
Until Matt seduces one of them, as usual.
Oh, hush. Stop.
The seducer.
Oh, whatever.
So now that we've found another way to talk about LongCon a little bit longer.
Yeah, well.
Books, comic books?
No.
So I've been keeping up with the ongoing Hulk and Thor. Thor's going fairly well. The Hulk may be taking a turn for the craptacular. We will see. I will keep you advised. The other thing that I read specifically for Nicole is Joker, the Man Who Stopped Laughing. So I don't know if you know about this, but do you know there's like multiple Jokers now in the DC universe running around?
Sad to say, somehow I do. I'm familiar with the concept, I believe.
So it's a bit of a spoiler, but there are 2 Jokers running around in this one.
Oh my!
And I guess it would be like new Coke and old Coke. The new Joker is running around in L.A. because they basically, some of the other villains are like, get out of here.
Wow.
So he's like That's not a bad idea. So he's kind of like on a world tour, fucking up all these other towns instead of Gotham for a change.
Well, think of it, if you had some pointy-eared guy with a cloak that kept kicking your ass every time you tried to act up, wouldn't you go, time to move to a different town?
Mm-hmm. Metropolis.
Yeah.
So you can get a super punch and
Superman punch you into the next. You get a light beating from Batman. Superman, forget it. Anyway, that's hilarious.
And then I guess more classic Joker is still running around Gotham, gathering his forces for his revenge,
trying to keep out of Arkham Asylum or whatever.
So I don't read that many DC books, but if there's some interesting Batman stuff, I like to make sure that I've got Nicole up to date.
Good.
Let her know. Any other big Batman fans out there, if you are there? Hold it in, Matt. Hold it in. You can do this. You can do it. He did it, folks.
That barbecue.
It wasn't the worst I've ever had, but
anyway,
it wasn't.
It wasn't worth what we paid for it. That's for sure. Anyway,
right. So that should bring us to like TV shows,
television. So we had been watching a number of horror movies for
the
benefit of being the Halloween season, which is
TV
past
shows.
Yeah. I hear you.
He's falling apart.
No, I got this. Follow me. But Heather and I were like, man, that's enough of blood and guts and gore. Let's go with the Halloween theme, but take it to a funny place.
Take it to the limit one more time.
Treehouse of Horror. I had maybe seen one of those once through all the years, but they had them all collected together for Halloween on
Hulu,
Peacock,
Disney,
or something like Disney, I think. Yeah. And so we sat there and like watched 2 and 3 and 4 per night at a time, and just in time, like Halloween night, we finished the sub. I forget there's been 33 freaking seasons, so I was like, holy crap!
So how was 33? How was the last one? Could you tell a really big decline?
Yeah, funny you mention that. She and I were talking about that, Heather and I, that like the first, probably I'll say 20. Man, I'm belly laughing. Like, these are brilliant. They're hilarious, but the artwork's crap. You go, and it's like the artwork gets a lot crisper and nicer. And then I looked at one point and went, I haven't laughed in the last 5 episodes or something. Yeah, it got way too
political.
Yeah. I didn't want to go there, but yeah, more.
It's always political with Matt.
But they were political to a certain degree, but you're laughing. It was great. It wasn't like, let's be preachy. This is almost like, and this supposed to be a cartoon. It's supposed to be silly and goofy, but it's getting a little preachy in those last few. And I'm like, yeah, no, didn't like it. And the proof's in the pudding. It's like, well, it's kind of like, even you'd say at one point, like, it's kind of jumped the shark. Yeah, but it's almost like now people, it's like it's some beloved
institution.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for. So anyway, I don't know, but we enjoyed the first probably 25 or so. They were brilliant. Enjoyed them. Had a lot of fun with them. And the concepts and stories were interesting for some of them. Like, I was even like, that could be an interesting concept for a game material or something. Some of it, the little wacky, wild stuff, But anyway, yeah. So that's TV. And then on Netflix television, we started the Del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosity, whatever the hell it is. And watch like the first 3 of those. They're pretty good.
Okay.
Not brilliant. Like the first one, there's aspects where like, all right, I'm going to have to really divest myself of reality. Because it's like, why is this woman malingering here in the rain all day long? But still good. And there was the chills and the thrills and the suspense or whatever. Yeah. So of the first 3, the first one's kind of a little weak, but still good. The guy in it, the main actor though, is a brilliant actor. But the next 2, we enjoyed probably a little more. And so that's TV.
And is that an ongoing, or is each one different? Because it's supposed to be like an anthology, isn't it?
Yeah. So there's these little kind of vignettes, each one done by a different director.
So, can I go straight to the third one and I'm not missing anything?
Absolutely. Yeah. Each one stands alone. Each one has its own theme and its own director and its own story. They're like, some guy wrote a short story. Well, here's the screenplay done by whoever. The only thing Del Toro is just they kind of stuck his name on it. He comes out and says something kind of like Hitchcock. You beat me to it at the beginning of each one, And it's weird. He's got a little like ivory looking statuette of each director that he gestures to as it, fades to the story or whatever. But Del Toro is brilliant, So, but as far as his involvement, maybe he pulled together these people.
Yeah, he invited them.
Yeah. So there's that, you know. But it's like, really, what was his involvement? Anyway, he might have executive producer or something.
All right. I've got a TV show. You got any more?
And I don't believe so. No.
Okay, so I know you don't watch all the animes, but I have been watching one called Chainsaw Man.
I'm intrigued. All right.
Oh, have you seen any of the... This is on Hulu, if I remember correctly. And it's one of those, like, you may like. So I was like, indeed I may.
One Punch Man. Chainsaw Man.
One Punch Man, I really think you should check out.
Yeah.
Have you seen that one yet?
Never.
Really funny.
Really?
Really funny. Yeah. I would definitely highly recommend that to you. Chainsaw Man is the story of a man with a chainsaw. So in all these, in a lot of the animes, there are demons.
Oh yeah.
That's a big thing over there, and it's almost like God with the lowercase g. Like this is the god of the lake or the god of the springs, or both. It's not necessarily a good or bad thing. Like this is a demon, but it's good.
Yeah.
Okay, so in this one,
here's a god, but he's kind of mischievous or whatever.
Yeah. So in this one, they are hunting demons, and this guy has the power to turn into a demon. And when he does go out his demon mode, instead of like big Wolverine claws, chainsaws pop out.
Okay.
He's just like boom, chainsaw blades.
Oh wow.
And his head can turn into a chainsaw even. So as crazy as that sounds, it's actually pretty good.
Wow.
It's got some pretty good battles, and he's doing it all not to save the world, but to get to touch a booby.
There you go. I have a lot of respect.
So see, I figured right there would get you to tune in.
Exactly.
But all the other characters are like, we're very serious about this. I'm fighting. My parents were killed by demons, and so I have to honor their memory, and I've got to try to save the world. And he's like, I must touch a booby.
That is phenomenal.
It's an understandable hero.
Exactly. I can totally identify. So, because you talk about things I have watched past, like Full Metal Alchemist, Inuyasha.
Inuyasha?
I watched a little bit. It was almost kind of under duress. But then again, remember, he's actually a demon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
but there's good demons and bad demons.
Yeah, because he's like a good character, but he's kind of a jerk, whatever. But Rurui Kenshin, I watched that back then. I watched it religiously. I watched a crap ton of that.
Did you ever watch Death Note?
No, or Bleach.
I think you would like Death Note. You might get lost along the way. Like I'm trying to think if it's like, oh, it's 100 episodes. If it's 100 episodes, you might be like, the first 20 were pretty on point.
You know me. I usually watch about the first 2 seasons, and if something's like same, okay, the concept, I'm good after 2 seasons. If it's the same thing, it's like shake it up or something. Which
Speaking of Inuyasha, I don't know how much of that you watched, but
not much.
It goes on like that forever.
Because it was almost kind of like a soap opera. You know what I'm talking? Yeah, I mean, you know what I'm talking about.
It wasn't designed to end.
Yeah. But Alvin's daughter, Lindsay, when she was younger, she loved it. Because I think the main character is actually like a teenage girl.
Yeah.
And
Kagome.
And Inuyasha is like almost like her pet demon or some crap or something. Her boyfriend wanted me. Whatever it is. See, it shows you how little I know about it. That I've watched it. Like I've been in the same room talking to Alvin while Lindsay was watching it.
So he's a dog demon. So that way she got a boyfriend and a pet at the same time.
Clever. Yeah. Because he's got like a dog tail and dog ears or something, right? Yeah. And that's totally these anime, yeah, I get it.
But I liked that one, but that was where you're like, this was not designed to end. And they finally do wrap it up. It had a good ending, but I can't, if it's like 13 seasons or something where you're like, ridiculous. I could watch the first 3 before it starts to get too repetitive, and then watch the last season and be like, yay, that was the best 4 season show.
Yeah. Well, that's like back in the day, Bobby loved Lost. And he kept talking up to me, why won't you watch it? Why won't you watch it? And but all I heard was how about like, it's inexplicable. And just when you think you know something, you're completely wrong, and over and over again. I said, man, that just sounds like it irritate me. And then at the end, when he was like, they never explained anything. And I said, yeah, I would be punching people in the face. I'm like, I'm so glad I didn't watch 1 episode of that, because that just sounds frustrating to me.
That's why I stopped watching a lot of shows until they ended. Like, this show is really great. Okay, let me know when it's over with, and you can go, they ended it perfectly, and I'll start watching.
Because you were like, I'm so envious of you that I started watching Breaking Bad during the hiatus right before the last season, and you were like, about the time you're done, you'll segue right into the last season, and you're like, you lucky. And like those times when they unfortunately, what channel is that? Is that
AMC? I think.
AMC does this crap where they'll bifurcate their seasons, and it would be that break with a cliffhanger, and you're sitting there for 3 months going, what happens? And I'd be like, well, I'm about to call it a night, and oh wait, what happened? Let me watch one more episode before I go to bed, because I gotta see what Walt or whatever did, in this episode. Oh, that wild man, or what happened to Jesse, or whatever. And so it's great being able to binge them and watch them in whatever order you want, and blah blah blah, and however you want, yeah. So wait until something's done. There's something to be said for that,
And you can't talk about anything to people anymore anyway, because nobody's watching the same stuff at the same time.
When I talked about this with Heather, it was so frustrating that when I was watching Walking Dead, there were a number of things that kind of soured me on it. And part of it was just the writing was so bad, and sometimes it got better and sometimes it got worse. But towards the period I quit watching, the writing was just dumb, just really bad, dumb writing. And that's kind of the hallmark of a number of, it's that show, like the second season, the writing was just very bad. And there are characters that got killed off because bad writing because they're great actors and probably a decent director. But the story writers are like, act like a complete jackass this season. And then everyone's like, we hate Andrea. Well, yeah, it's not the actress's fault or the director. It was the bad writing. They had her do some really stupid crap. So you'd hate her when you do. And then you're pretty much hated, and we're trying to save money on budget since the beginning. We're going to kill you off, And so that sort of thing went on. But people were notorious on Facebook. Like, I can't believe they killed off Blipple-Blap. And I'd be like, dude, not everybody got to watch it live tonight. Thanks, Jackwad. So like I would have to, basically like avoid, like let's say if it aired on Sunday and I wouldn't be able to watch it until like I was off on Tuesdays or something back then, I'd have to avoid Facebook for like 3 days until after I could see the episode. And then, I can't believe they killed you. And I told people, like, could you at least spoilers, or because I get they want to talk with their buddies. Well, make a little private chat group and like, let's vent and talk about tonight's episode. Nope, I'll just blurt in all caps, exclamation, they killed someone. Yeah, jerkwad. Anyway, but yeah, so Chainsaw Man. Sounds cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Any other shows?
No, that's it for me.
Any movies?
Nope. How about you?
Yeah, I end up watching
right.
The vampire movie, the
Fright Night.
Yeah. And gosh,
pretty cool, Brewster.
Yeah. So, they're very quotable, dinner is in the oven and all that, and pretty cool, Brewster, and all that stuff. It's interesting, the little gal that played the main character in that, the heroine or whatever, she went on to be on Married with Children, which is a trip. And then, the guy that played the little nerd, Evil Ed or whatever, he, had been in that. He'd been in a movie around that time with the very first movie, the guy that was in Shawshank Redemption, the main character. God, it's on the tip of my tongue. That guy. Not, anyway.
Morgan Freeman?
Not Morgan Freeman, but the other guy.
Which was married to Susan Sarandon.
Yep. One of his very first movies was some like guys fraternity beach movie that, again, the little nerd was in that, and he was in that with it. And I can remember his character's name was named Tucker, and they called him Mother Tucker. Anyway, great humor there. But this was
and then the vampire is the same guy as Princess Bride, right?
Yep, exactly. And did you know he did the voice of Jack Skellington?
No, I did not.
And I didn't know that either until sometimes I do research for the show, to talk about whatever. So it's wild to believe that, what's his name? Chris Sarandon did, the voice of Jack Skellington. It was in The Princess Bride as Prince Humperdinck. So whatever happened to the little nerd dude? What happened to him? He'd done like 1 or 2 more movies, and then he started doing male pornography of the.
Pretty cool, Brewster.
Yeah, not so cool. But anyway, yeah.
How many of those did you watch?
Well, only a few, but no. Actually, no, it was.
You've got to give a fair review of the biography.
It was the other kind of pornography. So, with all gentlemen casts. So,
I thought you were going to say the other kind where they're fully dressed and like having tea.
Yeah, no.
Very well, cheerio.
Anyway, so I was just like, holy crap. Yeah, so he did, he did gay porn after that.
Sometimes you just have to follow your dreams, Matt.
Yeah, I guess.
Don't let your dreams just be dreams.
Right.
If there's anything you want to tell us, this is a safe space.
But anyway, needless to say, so that guy's life took an interesting turn. I think eventually, since the turn of the century, he's come back to where he's doing theater or yeah, or something. He's getting some little acting gigs, but yeah, he had a long dry spell. You know,
He said it, not me. Edit that out.
Edit that out. But anyway, I'll freaking kill you. But anyway, there you go. But yeah, so that's it for movies.
Well, thanks. We have somewhere to go after that now. That's it. Good night, folks. Remember when this used to be an RPG podcast?
Right? So we talked about video games. Video games.
Okay, you got a video game?
Nope. Oh, but I do. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
So, 25th anniversary of Fallout. And for Fallout the anniversary, they're working on doing, kind of like with Skyrim, they did a revamp version and put a little DLC in with it, just to spice it up. Like, hey, let's rehash something instead of making something brand new. Apparently they're going to rehash, I think, Fallout 4, add a little DLC, something to commemorate 25th anniversary. Epic was giving away the Game of the Year edition of Fallout 3 for a while there, but by the time you've heard this, it's too late to get it, but they were giving it away at Epic. And then
that's pretty epic.
I know. And then Fallout 76 is going to be doing some freebies that should be right about now. They become available.
I think there's a new storyline that I still haven't done too.
Yeah, there's been a few since I quit playing, but so there's DLCs available, but there's going to be like some content, like a free flag and a gun that's themed or something for even the freebie players, and then for the pay players, they'll get one or two more little bennies or attaboys or whatever for the 25th anniversary of Fallout. So that was what I had for video games. I've been playing, but yeah.
So here's one for you. Have you heard of Marvel Snap?
No.
So that is the latest mobile game craze, also available on Steam.
No.
So I've been playing some of that lately. Really? So I'll tell you this story to tell you that story.
Okay.
I went over to the Geek World the other day.
Oh.
They were having a Pokemon pre-release event.
Did you hear our friend Mark there?
I saw our friend Will.
Oh, wow, cool. Good old Will.
So Will's not working there anymore.
No.
So I haven't seen him
in a minute.
Probably since COVID times.
Pre-COVID, yeah.
So I got to talk to him, and he's like, oh, hey, why don't you check out this game that I'm playing, the old Marvel Snap. So it's a card game, digital card game. I don't think physical cards actually exist of it, but it might be kind of cool if it did.
Yeah.
It's fairly simple. You get cards of all the characters, and apparently they just have a crap ton of the Marvel characters. Like, who is that? Well, they're in the game. So you have 3 different zones that you're vying to control, and you play cards to those zones, and whoever has the most power there at the end, you have to win 2 of the 3 zones. So that's all there is to it. So you play your card there, like Cyclops is worth 4 points. Okay, I've got 4 points here, and you have nothing. Haha, I win. So that's the very basics of it. It's more interesting than it sounds from that look on your face.
I would hope so.
But it's, at least at the level I am, it's not all that complicated. And I'm like, how am I winning all these games? How stupid can people be that they aren't getting this concept?
It takes all kinds, Eddie. It takes all kinds.
So it's fairly fun. I mean, it's mobile game fun. It's not Fallout 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 fun. But
it sounds like a fun time waster.
Yeah. If you need something new,
you're at the DMV in the line, this is brilliant.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
So check that out. This is not paid promotion.
Is it free or?
Oh, it's free
so
because of course there's no ads.
Really?
But they'll sell you the gold or the crimson bubbles so that you can upgrade things and unlock things.
Okay.
So they want to make their money off of it.
Sure, but you don't have to.
Not that I haven't had to buy any yet, but sometimes where it's like, if you buy the gems now, you don't have to wait the 30-minute cooldown.
Oh, okay, cool.
It doesn't have one of those. Yeah. But there are games with that.
Oh, sure. Well, even when I was doing Duolingo, it was like if you messed up, 5 times or something, it's like, well, come back tomorrow or whatever to learn more language. And it's like, but if you want to keep learning, you got to pay. And it's like, no, okay, I'm good. I'll be back tomorrow.
I'll be back tomorrow.
And I will learn Spanish, Espanol. So how was Will otherwise?
Mi amigo.
Yeah.
I was doing really good. And he ended up winning the little tournament or whatever you want to call it.
Cool.
So, yeah, I ended up, and that was the first one that I've ever played in. I got soundly beaten into the ground.
But it's your first one.
Well, the cool thing about this is, and I think you'll appreciate it because I've seen you drooling a little bit about magic drafts.
Oh, yeah.
This is kind of like a draft.
Oh.
So it's like, here's your deck. Here are X amount of packs.
Mm-hmm.
You can switch out whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
So if you get a really good draw, you're going to fly through this. I didn't draw jack crap. So I basically just had the standard deck.
Mm-hmm.
And the first dude I played against had won all the championships there before.
Oh, wow.
So he was a very seasoned player.
Yeah.
And he drew some godly cards.
That's pretty well.
So it was like, okay, if we just straight up played, you would probably kick my butt.
Yeah, steamroll.
But then it's like, I have the Black Lotus.
Yeah.
So it's like, I got crushed into the ground, but I had a good time. And I mainly did it to throw them some support because I was like, I don't know if they'll have one person or 10 people, but they had a good turnout. They had 16 people, I think.
Well, good.
And that was their first Pokemon event that they've had since the COVID.
Yeah, things are opening back up there at Geek World. I'm really tickled about that.
So, yeah, I went up there and show my support because, like I said, it was the first one, and you're like, I don't know if there'll be one person there, and I can be like, I'm here for you guys, and I'll fill out the brackets. I can at least do that. I can fill the brackets.
Yeah, we went and had some Athenas there in Delicious and Tyler, and we swung by because we were hoping to see Mark, but he's trying to avoid
Us,
which I don't blame him. But anyway, no, it'd be nice to see Mark, but he's got a lot going on, I know, because guy's fingered a couple different pies and different things. But yeah, I'm hoping we can catch up with him sometime for, But yeah.
All right. Well, we are an hour into this show.
Wow.
So I say we just call it here. Forget the topic.
Okay.
Everybody just clicked off in a rage now. They're like, these guys.
Because we have those few that are like, they actually want the role-playing topic.
We could start going with the topic first, but I think we've mentioned that before. It's like, hey, if you'd rather we talk the topic first and then put all this.
Because isn't there somebody out there that
back.
really, they said, I love the pop culture. I care less about the role-playing topic. There's one guy out of, I think, Cali or something. So WotC Bro has received some fustigation from us recently. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go listen to our last couple podcasts. The last couple,
just the topic portion.
yeah, right.
You don't have to listen to the whole thing.
Yeah, just listen to the topic. And or when we were on Talking Crit, I think we talked a little crit, about WotC Bro. And then on our last Twitch, we threw a little shade at WotC Bro. So anyway, I'm not going to rehash
We're about
that.
to take them down.
Yeah, but
we're bringing them to their knees.
But we had the idea was, and it's kind of like I could be totally wrong, but I see where Doug is playing in one of my games at the con, and it's Savage Worlds. And I was thinking, maybe I bet Doug's like, I want to kick the tires on Savage Worlds. What a great chance to do that is at the con playing with Matt. And so because he is hearing what we're saying, and he's like, let me check out what my other options are. Well, with that in mind, we thought we would talk about some of your options if you did want to lean away from 5th edition. So I guess to lead out, if you want to stay with D&D sort of, like that is to say the 5th edition of the world's oldest role-playing game, you could try 5 Torches Deep. And how deep? 5 torches. All right.
So was that one of those movies, the guy?
It actually was that he, Brewster. Hamana.
I'm 5 torches deep.
How deep did they go?
This out.
Yeah.
Do it.
So anyway,
one of these days he'll die on the cast, and I won't.
Of course,
it'll be there in all its glory.
There you go. Yeah, you could just use that as a soundbite when you do it by yourself from then on. My death rattle. Yeah, you can use it at the end when I do a death rattle. Anyway, 5 Torch Deep is deadlier. It requires what I call smarter play. Magic is hazardous. resource management to a small degree,
Yay.
i.e. the name 5 Torches Deep, but a simple encumbrance system.
I only have 5 torches.
No dump stats, and stats are overall slightly lower, but otherwise same as 5th edition. 18 is +4, blah, blah, blah. There are 4 classic races. Max level is 9th. 4 archetypes, 3 subclasses. Sound familiar? Each archetype is a single page. Rules are very modular. I like the rules for incapacitation. It encourages proactive healing that we're both big proponents of. He's got travel rules. Casting requires a skill check. There are consequences for failure. Rules for retainers, a real shining point. This is one of the things that really impressed me. Great simple monster builder math table, great tool for making and or converting monsters. Overall, the layout of the book is brilliant. It's very, very clean. So I would definitely say if you want something that's basically if you played 5th edition, you'd sit down to play this and go, you could jump right in with no problems. It's very reminiscent of 5th edition, but it's kind of like at one point when we were all playing 5th, and we were all getting kind of bored of it. Gary brought in some new rules, and we were still playing 5th edition essentially. Like, no one had to be retaught. But he's like, all right, here's where this varies from the typical 5th edition. And it made it a little more harsh, a little more old school. And it was me, Eddie, Cody, and Sean. And I know I had way more fun than I'd been having in previous months with 5th edition. I really enjoyed it. I believe everyone did, as I remember. Cody was playing a priest that we really liked, and he played him well. It was a lot of fun. Anyway, what was hilarious though was, Cody, as many 5th edition playing cleric types are like, I'll let you just take a dirt nap, then I'll come heal you. And we're like, dude, proactive healing. I'll just go down. I'm not gonna waste my heals. Well, the hilarious thing in that one, and so I'll move on.
You were getting levels of exhaustion, right?
Yeah, that's
as you got hit.
So another one to consider if you want to stick close to 5th edition, this is what Gary was running. I think he did borrow a few concepts from 5 Torches Deep, but what Gary was actually running was Into the Unknown. And definitely that one, I'll say, if you hit the ground, you take a level of fatigue. And so, he let Sean hit the ground, 2 or 3 times in that one adventure. And you don't really see the fatigue rules used that much in 5th edition. But boy, when you do, and what a great way to use them, there should be a consequence for going below 0 hit points or at 0. And there it is. And next thing, after 2 or 3 levels of fatigue, Sean's warrior is shut down. And he looked over at Cody like, if you let me hit the ground one more time, I'm literally going to reach across the table and punch you, not my character punching me, So it's like, be proactive with the healing. So I love it. Finally brought fatigue, which is a great system in 5th edition that you never really see used much. It brought it into play in a very meaningful way, and it really encourages proactive healing. I'm sorry, but you were going to say something. I think
okay. I'm still giggling about other things.
Okay.
This is again video cast.
Yeah. But back to, so Into the Unknown, it's more similar to 5e than even 5 Torches is, even though still, if you ever played 5th edition, you'd have no problem getting people to be able to play 5 Torches. Into the Unknown is even more similar. It's a blend of old school and 5e. You could call it 5e rules lighter. It has a BX feel to it. And if you don't know what I mean by BX, the old D&D basics expert rules. And so there are no races. The races are classes here, which is a very old school concept, And I remember I played an elf in that game with Cody and you and Sean. And the elf was kind of a gish, as they call it nowadays, where he was a little melee, a little casting, definitely decent range skills. Sounds like, fantasy elf. And I had a lot of fun with it. I remember playing my character. And so there are no feats and no skills, sort of. So where you go, wait a minute, I like skills. Well, they're kind of there and they're kind of not. The max level is 10th level. It's got harsher healing rules. I love this. Fatigue. We just talked about it. Anyone can try anything is their motto. So backgrounds make better sense. And you know how the backgrounds in 5th edition, you almost wonder like 3 were done by one guy and 4 were done by another guy. I mean, they don't gel well, and some seem way better than others or whatever. The guy really kind of evened out the backgrounds. They make better sense, and there's an interesting dynamic how they work with your class and your race and all that. Like I said, there's a interesting dynamic with leveling. Instead of a stat bump, which you can take a stat bump, but you can learn a new spell or a new proficiency or things along those lines. So let's say you're playing a fighter, But when it's time to level up and get that stat bump, you go, instead of a stat bump, I want to learn a spell. Okay. Or you go, you know what? We don't have no one wanted to play a rogue. I want to be able to pick locks. Okay. That's what your guy's been training in the background during his downtime was someone gave him a little treatise that would normally like an apprentice would have that he's been poring over and studying in his spare time. And all of a sudden he unlocks the use of that spell or picking locks or something like that. So that's kind of interesting in the whole, anybody can do anything. The races feel more individual and unique. Like I said, I played an elf, which is a races class. And I really liked it. I've looked at the halfling. It's got a very unique, interesting flavor, as does the dwarf. So even though their class is race, and for some games that really didn't have that much flavor or that meaningful, you're not going to feel disappointed that like, well, wait a minute, I can't be, a class and a race. Race is your, but it really has a unique, interesting flavor that makes it worthwhile to play a dwarf as opposed to a human warrior, whatever. So that's so far that's the two that if you want to stay close to 5th edition, you're trying to get your table to switch over, you know what I mean? But so they're like, well, I don't want to learn a new game. If you played 5th edition, these are close enough to home. It's not a hard transition. I'll put it that way. Anything you got to play that Into the Unknown.
Nah, I really liked it, but
we had a lot of fun with it. Wouldn't you agree?
I think wasn't the magic system that Gary took from Harnmaster, or was that?
Yeah, that was something that he tried to kind of blend in or whatever. So that was Gary's home thing.
But
that wasn't Into the Unknown.
See, I was a wizard, so I got to experience and interact with that system of the game, and I really liked the way that was laid out. But I can't go, check out 5 torches, 10 torches, 12 torches deep.
Yeah, I won't lie.
Because of that.
I bought the book 5 Torches, and I looked at it, and I really was impressed with it. And when I showed it to Gary, he's like, no, thank you. And but then he came back later and said there were aspects of it he did like, and he culled those in. So when Gary did that thing for us, it was a little bit In Search of the Unknown, or Into the Unknown, excuse me, a little bit 5 Torches, and some of it was just Gary's homebrew stuff. But overall,
which was a good time.
Oh yeah, we had a great time because he used Harn World as the actual campaign world, which is a very rich world. So the point I'm saying is, if you already own the books, keep using them. If you love them, that's great. But the whole idea of don't give WotC Bro any more of your money. Well, the IE is, come up with your own stuff or find something you can steal from like Gary. Or if you're like, I'd like to move, I'm kind of bored with 5th edition as well. This might be that transition to something that's similar. But moving away from, similar to 5th edition, Troll Lord Games, Castles and Crusades.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
And we played that before we started playing 5th edition. And like TJ loved it so much, he just went out and bought the books right before Gary, twisted my arm and was like, come on, man, 5th edition, coleslaw. And that's how we jumped on the 5th edition train. But it's a solid old school fantasy. These guys are out of Arkansas, which is kind of cool being from the South. Gary Gygax worked with these guys from around 2003 until his death in 2008. He really liked these guys and he liked working with them, and they, he did a lot of stuff through them. What's sad is none of that stuff, these little anecdotes some of y'all like, none of that stuff's available because when he died, the missus was like, no, that belongs to me and, whatever in the estate. And so it's just languishing in limbo. If you like attributes of saves, this is where that first came from.
Yep.
So it's in 5th edition, but it was done first in Castles and Crusades because those old saves were wonky.
Shut your filthy mouth. It's
very much a D20 system, so it's easy to pick up if you've ever played another one. It's a very polished first, second edition D&D, in a lot of ways. But they have something they call their Siege Engine, which is a die 20 plus the appropriate attribute modifier plus your level sometimes versus either 12 or 18, depending on if it's your class's primary or secondary attribute for tasks and saves and things. There are 13 classes, including the Assassin and the Knight. There are 7 races, the traditional races, and it's Vankian magic, fire and forget. There is no skill system. So anything else you'd add about when we played Castles and Crusades?
No, it was a lot of fun.
We enjoyed it.
That was, when we were playing it was about the time that the 5th edition playtesting was going on too. And so, we jumped off the 5th edition playtest stuff and started playing that. Yeah.
We tried the playtest and we're like, bleh, and we pushed it aside and we started doing Castles. And these guys used to be good about, they came to the first 3 or 4 NTRPGs that we attended, they almost always had a booth there. And there's this one guy that was kind of a neat guy that would run the booth for them that I remember interacting with. And I bought some of their product, there, because we really like, and definitely someone who enjoys first, second edition D&D. Definitely, this is close enough to that you can appreciate it. But they made some tweaks to make it definitely more playable. So one that we're obligated we're under contract to mention, Dungeon Crawl Classics. DCC uses difficulty numbers or DCs. It's got 3 saves, which I love. It leans into rolling randomly for stats, hit points, that sort of thing. It encourages unique monsters, which I think is brilliant. You can do that in any game. It has the funnel, and that's the thing like even Bad Mike brought up on Talking Crit, like, oh yeah, funnels. You guys love the funnels, right? And we're like, yeah. The D die is brilliant for warriors. We talked about that. Spells are a table, and they don't always work. Casters can crit, essentially. The crit and fumble tables are a lot of fun. These are a lot
table-loving son of a gun.
Yeah, I know. These are a lot of the pros. Now for the cons.
Uh-oh.
It goes off the rails pretty quick.
Yeah.
The right party can literally, I've seen it break the game. But let's be honest, a lot of games go off the rails at higher levels. I'm looking at you, D&D 3, 4, 5. Spells are a table and don't always work. Sound familiar? It's under pros and cons. And the crit table fumbles aren't for everyone, and they slow play a little bit. And Eddie's nodding in agreement.
I'm not a tables kind of guy.
Yeah, Eddie doesn't really like tables, and DCC's got, that's like Papa John's like, big books, intimidating. It's all tables, bruh. It's all, each spell is its own table,
So this is probably where I should be like, a bumblebee shouldn't be able to fly. It's not aerodynamic or whatever. It's like, I probably shouldn't like DCC for some of the things. Yeah. It's like, it's got a bunch of tables and it goes off the rails gonzo. And it encourages too much gonzo-ness in some people where it's like, it should be so deadly. Dungeon Crawl Classics. Oh yes. This must be, you set foot in the dungeon and you die, which is different amounts of funds for different people. But it makes you think this is super deadly. And when it encourages people to run through dungeons like jackasses, that's when it's like,
yeah. But
some of the swinginess.
Yeah, and that's where some people, just like Gary, cannot abide, Double R, can't stand, the house swingy and the wild spell charts and all that stuff.
But it's got so much of the old school feel. There's so much about it that I do like. And then I like, if we get to like Savage Worlds, I'm assuming, in a few here. Yeah. One of the things I like about this is there are so many variations. So if you want to play in the woods, play DCC. If you want to play in the post-apocalyptic world, play MCC.
Or America.
If you want to play in the Wild West.
Yeah, Weird Frontiers.
If you want to play in space.
You got Starcrawl.
If you want to play monsters.
Yeah. I saw what you did there.
So there's a lot of different variations of it. Kind of like you only have to learn this one system.
And that's one thing. It's that if once you learn the engine, it's a simple engine. It translates into all these other, game systems. And that's what's great is people have done, and Joe Goodman's a really good guy. He's very much, have fun. And he's lent that license or allowed, there's a free app online that you can use because you might be like, I don't know where to get those funky dice, so I don't want to buy them. There's a free app that's got the funky dice and a lot of the game mechanics. Purple Sorcerer, Crawler's Companion. So really nice of Joe to lend that out there. And again,
it's so good it should be illegal.
Yeah, and there's some guy that I wish I could conjure his name who did basically if you like something like Cyberpunk or whatever.
Oh, Cyber Sprawl.
He's got his Cyber Sprawl, which are really rules so good you should have to pay for them, and they're free. And there's a very prolific community that creates a lot of free content, add-ons, and bonus material. And what's cool is Joe's out here. He could go, well, it's time to issue the 3rd edition of DCC. Nope, it's the same book since 10 years now, and he's not trying to let's kickstart a new edition or whatever to make a buck or whatever. And some of the best modules you'll ever play.
Yeah, and they don't crank them out every few months.
They have quality authors. writing really good adventures. And I'm telling you, I mean, they're so good. Even before I really embraced DCC, I converted a couple adventures over into 5th edition because they're just so darn good. And they lean into the whole, like I said, unique monsters. And I remember when you were a kid, like D&D was kind of scary and creepy. You get to be an adult and you're like, I ain't scared of this crap. I'm scared of cancer and my bills and my mortgage. No, these adventures are creepy. They're scary. That chill up your spine.
But for me, you need that old school group. Yeah, now that's just for me. You can have your own preferences, Matt Couch, but for me, I like the old school. Let's be careful through the dungeon instead of like we're on a ride in the park and let's go wee.
Like to each their own, but like for me and Eddie, like our yardstick, if we play in a funnel at the end of it, it's like, ha, I got all 4 of my characters left, and you still were involved and helped out. You didn't just hide in the back. I mean, that's not brag worthy. Like I got in there and helped and put my chin out there a couple times. I took some swings at the monster, but I played smart and I helped get through this dungeon. Hooray! Look at me, But I'll say, yeah, the funnels are brilliant. I like the weird dice because the dice chain is their dynamic, whereas like 5th edition has advantage and disadvantage. You work your way up and down the dice chain, and sometimes that works kind of well, and I kind of like it. But anyway, as Eddie said, it's got a lot of charts and tables, and I love charts and tables. I will say that
whereas I like to just come up with stuff or have my own little simple, this is how I'm going to do it.
And what's great is not to say you can't do that. This is, again, like old school D&D back in the day before the internet. Everybody's D&D was a little different. You might go meet a new friend and get to play games with the guy in the next town over and find that they had this notebook that's well worn and lovingly taped up that's got all their house rules in it for you to learn and or study. And it's still D&D at the end of the day, but it would be very maybe different from what you played back in Skittlesville or whatever, And so definitely with DCC, I've seen as I played at cons, like just to let y'all know up front, I don't do this and I do that and da. Like me, I'll let people know at a con.
Spellburn.
I'm not gonna let you spellburn more than 5 points at a time. And I use either intel or luck for, perception, so it's neat. So Black Hack.
Well,
go ahead.
Before you move off of this and before you get to the other one of the things I was going to say is we are encouraging you to move away from 5th edition to support your friendly local game shop.
Right, yeah.
So how many of these are you going to find on the shelves? Yeah. That's the other problem.
Yeah.
So probably the most popular stuff you're going to find is Pathfinder.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, that's on you if you love Pathfinder.
Which is Pathfinder 2. Yeah.
Savage Worlds.
Mm-hmm.
And Goodman Games stuff like DCC.
Because I'll tell you, Geek World's got a ton of MCC, DCC.
Geek World's got everything.
We even saw a New America book there on their show.
And I bought it.
Yeah, which is pretty cool. Mark, we promoted that game in Tyler, and Mark embraced it. And back in the day, we ran in Shreveport and so embraced it and had it on the shelf. So, and I say what you will, our local game store, last I heard, they've got quite a little selection of DCC stuff. So, I wouldn't know. I haven't seen it, but anyway, yeah, but definitely talk to your purveyor, your store, whatever.
Yeah,
hey,
see if they can get it in.
Can you get X? Can you get Y? I really want to check this out. And I'd rather get it through you. And I know what you're thinking. Well, I could just get it off the internet and save $1 or whatever. But dude, if it's only a couple of bucks, and it probably is, throw that bone to your local game store.
And if you have no friendly local game store, then carry on.
By all means,
go about what you're doing.
Yeah.
This is if you have one and if you're utilizing them. And sometimes maybe even if you're not that much, just to try and throw them a bone. Yeah. But if you're going and playing every week and you're never buying anything, they never see a nickel out of you because you buy all your stuff online. They're not going to be able to keep the lights on forever.
Yeah, and you might go, I don't care, but I'm telling you, I've seen this stuff play out. I've been a gamer for a long time, and I remember when the old Tom's Triple Play in Shreveport closed, there were guys that looked on the verge of tears, and I just shook my head and went, I've been preaching this shit for the last 6 months. I knew people were buying all their stuff offline, and yeah, they had to close the doors. I mean, and then they were like, where are we going to play at? Exactly, dumbass. Or even if like, well, I got a game table at home. Yeah, but how cool is it to come up to the game store and ask questions of the person that runs the store and maybe look at something on the shelf first and go, if it's not shrink wrap, and go, oh, this looks good. This is worth me buying or whatever, or something. It's great to have that opportunity, and you got to support your local game store.
Yeah, like if you ask me why I'm buying the Pokemon's cards, that's something I'm buying from the local game shop. And luckily now we can buy a burger from our local shop, which is nice.
So if you walk in, you're like, I don't really need any game paraphernalia. Buy a hamburger, drink, and fries. And I tell you, the price point is too reasonable. And this is me saying that, but I mean,
I told them.
I was like, guys, you're pretty giving this stuff away. So you want a really good meal in Kilgore at a really insanely good price. Yeah, go check them out. But it's like when I went to see Silver Fox or Steel Fox over in Bossier. I walked in the door. I said, I hear kids, find something you want. We're going to buy a few things because let me help out my friendly local game store. Bo's an old bud of ours. He had told me that So's been doing some tabletop over there.
Good.
So anyway.
I haven't seen him in a long time.
Yeah, and I'm missing So myself. So anyway, Black Hack. The rules are player forward. Game masters, you will love it or you will hate it. If you know what we're talking about, it's basically the players roll the dice. It's like the player's attacking. All right, roll your dice. Okay, my monster's attacking you. You need to defend. The player rolls the dice to defend. So the only time you even touch a dice is to roll damage. And if you want to use average damage, you never touch a dice. It feels so alien for a guy who's been gaming for years like me. But once you get used to it, it's kind of liberating. Yeah, Eddie's over here grinning. He knows I'm talking about.
That's because there's the even cooler version, Barbarians of the Ruined Earth.
And I was going to get to that.
Oh, I know you are, but go ahead if you had some more Black Hack.
Yeah.
Black Hackery.
So to let you know about Black Hack and its many, many, many derivatives, you roll under a stat. The rules are player forward. It has a usage die. Again, some people like the usage die. I was talking to Beatty the other day, and he was like, I ain't a big fan of the usage die. But again,
I love it.
Yeah,
see, for resource management, that's how you do it.
And that's just it. Eddie's a guy who doesn't really care for resource management, so he loves it, and that's great. Magic isn't slot or point based. It will at least work once in the basic Black Hack. In other systems that are derivatives, it might work differently. But it's basically like the very first time you cast a spell, it works. Now, every time thereafter, when you roll a die, and if you like choke out a fail, the spell shut down until you rest or whatever. But if you roll a success each time, you keep casting that magic missile over and over again. So it's at the Luck and Capri, which sounds like another game we just talked about, but here's the difference. When you cast magic missile in DCC, you might fail the initial casting.
Or you might cast a nuke.
Or you might cast a nuke that crits and blows the monster away, and the GM just holds his hat and cries or whatever into it.
Well, everything in a 5-mile radius.
Exactly, yeah. Like I said, these crazy charts. But in Black Hack and some of its derivatives, basically, yeah, that first casting just works for you because they know that's not fun, you know. But after that, and it's in other games, it's fire and forget. Well, no, here, the Capri of the die, which is kind of fun. I like that. Your mods may vary. So let's see. Magic, it's not very crunchy, and people that like more rules aren't apt to like it. Even if you're not crazy about Black Hack, a lot of great games have been built off the engine that might add just the tweaks to make you like it. Black Sword Hack, which is kind of like the world of Elric of Melniboné, which, you know, I love those books, and I've thought about looking into this, but like I don't have enough stuff on my plate. And of course, there's Bottery, which is Barbarians of the Ruined Earth, which, you know, we're big proponents. If you listen to this, it's a wonderful game. Mike Evans took the Black Hack rules and really improved upon them in a lot of ways, and it's a fun game. Eddie runs it at almost every our con when he goes to North Texas. I think, did you run it when we went to GaryCon? Yeah. So I mean,
and the cool thing about that is that's introducing it to a lot of new people.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've had anybody that said they didn't like Barbarians.
A lot of people love it. I mean, they play it. You get a taste of that, and it's just a lot of fun. And for Eddie, like we talked about, I won't belabor on the podcast, but like he might run a more fatalistic, iron hand, fair, hard but fair kind of, you know, game master game of D&D or whatever you want to call it, DCC or something. But for him, it's funny to see him put that different hat on, because when he's running this, he's let's have fun and I love everybody. He wants more lemonade, have another cookie, you know. I mean, it's just the complete flip of the switch, and he gets to revel in this and play that way, you know.
But I think that's switching from like the old school GMing style to the modern GMing style.
Yeah. And it's not to say that you couldn't die in Black Hack, but definitely in Bottery, it's pretty tough to die. And I think so. That's how the guy who wrote it, Mike Evans, wanted it to be. Again, you're making these games your own.
And if you like rules light, which I do.
Yeah, it's rules light, and we love. Well, Black Hack is rules light. Batteries rules light. All these derivatives are pretty.
If you
much
don't want to go look at the table in the back of Appendix G.
And even like I said, something like DCC where it has a chart, I mean, you have to use it, make it your own. But
because I think for something like this where it's rules light and there's not a table, you're more inclined to come up with a cooler crit or whatever. It's like, okay, you hit him, roll the crit. Okay, this is table 3 and you rolled a 12, so that means you cut off his big toe. Okay, congratulations, do your extra die. Whereas in Black Hack or Barbarians, you're more inclined to go like, and then you climb on top of him and you come screaming out of the sky and you land and split his skull and blah, blah. Yeah. It's more evocative, perhaps.
Because it is a shame that if you're in the heat of giving your dialogue and the fight, and all of a sudden, you got a crit. Well, let's flip to the. Where is that in the page 94? I think. Okay, you're a fighter. Oh, but what level are you? 3rd. Oh, yeah, because that's a different chart. Okay, here we go. All right, roll this dice. Yeah.
It takes you out of the moment.
Exactly, takes you out. And I'm always been that guy that I love an immersive game and high energy and being in the moment and everything. So it does kind of pull you out of the verisimilitude a little bit. So yeah, and I will say, like with when we've done Bottery or I've done Black Hack, like you remember you're rolling to evade being hit. So another thing, people, this blows their minds. They don't always like it. You're used to, oh boy, I rolled a 20. No. 20's bad. You want to roll below a stat. Like the best thing you can roll is a 1. So when you roll a 1, you get a crit. If you're rolling to evade being hit and roll a 20, that's when I laugh as the GM. You just got critted, and you rolled the hit that made you get critted.
Which I also love is putting that back on the players.
Like,
you rolled it.
You rolled it, not me. Yeah, I love that. They can't get mad at you. And so the thing is, that's when it doesn't really give per se. I think it might give rules in both games for a crit, but I know me, I threw it out the window. I'm like, I do the thing where I go, all right, either you're going to take double damage or you take damage and I get to do something fun to you. And most people go, oh, screw that, I'll take double damage. Or other times I'll go, all right, you critted. Because I ran this at ReaperCon. And I told somebody at one point, all right, you can do regular damage and something cool. Well, this girl goes, yeah, I want to say I hobbled him and did regular damage. I said, brilliant. Now he was trying to run away like the monster was, or trying to chase somebody who was trying to get away from him that was injured really bad. Like, brilliant. Yeah, okay, you smash him in the foot and do regular damage. Oh, but you hobbled him for the rest of the fight, or like I'll take 5 feet off his movement. So I think that's a cool way to handle that. And that's just something I came up with. And you could do that with any game again, I suppose. But anyway. But like I said, there's other games. There's so many derivatives. There's Solar Blades and Cosmic Spells, which is somewhat popular within this niche. There's Macchiato Monsters, the Rad Hack. I own Black Hack and some of its derivatives that I bought off Drive-Thru RPG, and I'd like to run a campaign in it, but I'll admit, if I did, I would tweak it quite a bit. But it's a very rules-like game. It's very tweakable. I could see taking rules from all these other different derivatives, cherry-picking all the ones I like the best, and running that, and it would be a ton of fun. And it's very simple. I mean, it's very easy to learn. It's rules light, a lot of fun. Like I said, Eddie's a big proponent, at least of Bottery.
All rules light.
Yeah. If it's rules light, yeah. Anything else you'd add on that?
Why aren't you playing it?
Exactly.
And I will say with Bottery, you'll probably have to order that. That's when you probably will have to break down. But
well, you can get the PDF too.
Well, you're not going to get it from your friendly local game store, is what I'm saying.
Right. So definitely that one, even though we'll say some of our local game stores.
Yeah, if you live near us.
You live near us. You can, Gamers XP in Shreveport has a couple copies on
Dragon's
the shelf.
Nest and probably Geek World too.
Yeah. So by
Well, no, then again, I think Geek World might have been sold out.
Oh, then we need to get them.
I don't remember seeing it. We've only got 5 left. I think we ordered 50.
And if you're coming to our con, we might have a few copies, or our buddy, even better, David Donahue of Etten Games ought to have some copies. So.
We've got 5 copies left, and I will cry to see them go because I know I'll start up a game of that and be like, sorry guys, you have to order it online. I had copies for a group, but now I don't. Because
after Eddie runs a game, usually anybody that doesn't already have a copy goes, where can I get this? Right here, bub. Or we'll direct them towards David or whatever. Good old Etten Games. All right. I had to talk about, one of my new, not new, but one of my newer passions,
Heather?
Savage Worlds. Huh? A man of many and varied interests. But Savage Worlds, so many companion books. It's easy to learn, but there's ways to layer in complexity. It has exploding dice, the extras rule, which is similar to Minions, from another game. It's got bennies. And you know, not to belabor it, but the bennies are basically like, you know, I kind of like, what is it called? Inspiration in 5th edition, where it's like, up, I flubbed the roll. I'm going to spend a Benny to roll again, you know, and you can use them for other things too. I like that you can affect the story kind of like, and to talk about DCC again, the luck rule is one of the coolest things from DCC. You can use luck for neat things. Well, same principle here. You might in the story go, hey, Jim, can we say that I know this one NPC over here? Give me a Benny. All right, yeah, you know the guy that's running the stable or whatever. You know, I mean, you can influence the story to a certain degree with bennies. You can re-roll dice with bennies, so they're really neat. And like I said, the extras rule is most monsters and people and characters in the game have 1 hit point essentially, and 1 wound, if you will, and so the game doesn't get that bogged down. You know, with it's going to be forever. No, these you can throw a handful of spiders at somebody, you know, giant spiders. Each one of them has 1 wound. You know, yeah, it'll be challenging. They'll be biting and doing poison or whatever, but the players can mow them down and have their fun with them. You know, and for in the few people that don't know what exploding dice means, if you roll the highest number on your die, you get to pick it up and roll it again and add it to what you previously rolled. So you roll a die 8, you roll an 8. Hoo-hoo! And you know, you roll the die 8 again. You roll, you know, 1 through 7, you add that to the 8, you got a really good number. You roll another 8, that's right. You get to pick it up and roll it a 3rd time, you know, or 3rd time, and add that again. So, I mean, it just really, it gets kind of, it can be swingy, but that's where the bennies kind of compensate for some of that. You know, it's a lot of fun. I'll say that we've been running Savage Pathfinder at the club on Thursday nights for the last couple months. It's starting to grow to be now months,
and loving it.
And yeah, we're having a lot of fun. And what's funny is I'll see other tables that when our table just explodes with laughter and cheers when we get these really wild series of exploding, you know, dice a player does and gets some outrageous attack, or when the bad guy gets that, people are like, oh, you hear this groan at the table, whatever. But we're so animated with it. I see other tables kind of looking over side eyeing like, those guys look like they're having a lot of fun. The exploding dice add a really fun element to the game, I just gotta say, and the bennies and stuff. So yeah, so Savage Worlds, like I laid in with so many companion books. So you've got the core rules, and that's one of the neat things, kind of like DCC. Once you know the core rules, there's so many different genres, I guess I'll call it.
Yep.
There's the Wild West, post-APOC, the other post-APOC, blah, 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 you know, space or whatever. Well, like right now I'm looking at the Superpowers companion book. Beautiful book, hardbound, like all the stuff from Pinnacle is really well made, well laid out, really high quality paper, gorgeous artwork, reasonably priced. They come with like 2 and 3 ribbons for marking your place. But I haven't played Supers in years and I haven't really wanted to, but having read the Supers book, I'm actually like, ooh, I could, you know, play some Supers. And like we talked about going to a con where you're like, God, I got to carry the books for 3 or 4 different systems if you want to vary your play. How cool if you just like, nope, I've got the
Savage Worlds all the way.
I got the core Savage Worlds, and I might bring the Supers book, Deadlands, which is their Weird West, and bring, their space book or whatever.
Riffs.
Riffs or something. Yeah. So Savage Riffs. And so there's the companions from Pinnacle are really well done. But again, like talking about DCC, where it's got a really loyal fan base, producing a lot of great content. And Joe Goodman's a real sweetheart about not, I'm bringing my lawyers, I'm going to stomp you into the ground. If you'll like look to your right, Eddie, over there, I found the other day on a goof, I went doing some searches. Someone's done a very elaborate, high quality, well-made free version of like Savage World Star Wars, like a companion. And it looks like at first glance, I thought it was official. It's that well done. And I realized, oh no, it was a fan homage freebie thing you could get. And so most anything you can think of, either it's been legally licensed or someone's made a loving version of
like
it.
Fallout.
Yeah, there's about 5 or 6 different Fallouts. So even if you looked at one and went, oh man, this is some amateur crap, look at the other 5 that are out there. You probably cobble together something you really loved. I've played in and heard about people doing Savage Worlds Fallout. It's been phenomenal. Our buddy Kirby does a Savage Worlds Gamma World. You know, it's pretty much Gamma World, but in Savage Worlds. I found that people have done a Shadowrun for Savage Worlds. It's unofficial because the rules. I love the theme of Shadowrun, but
there's
rules
a lot of that
crap.
Riffs.
Yeah, there's the Riffs. That's an official product though. A lot of great books coming out for that. I found on a goof, I thought about beloved TV show Firefly. Yep, there's an unofficial, very high quality version of Firefly for.
And you can even play the Pathfinder, like you said, without having to put up with Pathfinder rules, because they've got a lot of lore where you're like, oh yeah, this is nice, but how could it be even better?
Yeah, the World of Galarian, they brought in a bunch of professional writers early on at Paizo, whatever, and paid them to, like, we want to develop this really cool world, and we want to write some great adventures in this world using our new game Pathfinder. Well, say what you will and think what you will about Pathfinder, but boom, here's all that cool lore, like Eddie said, but using what is a rule system I like better. I'll put it that way. Just to give a quick overview of, and like I said, I like the core game dynamic. It's roll with a skill or an attribute with a target number of 4. You get 4 better, you hit, or the skill went off or whatever. If you get 4 over the target number, you got what they call a raise. Something cool happens. You'll do an extra die of damage, or you didn't just hit them, you knocked them down or whatever. That's really kind of cool. And then, when you get a raise, something cool happens. Like I said, hit the sweet spot. It really hits the sweet spot for me. I like the game. It's not too complicated. Really, we've had people show up at the game club and we go, hey, join us. We'd love to have you. And they go, I don't know. We have cheat sheets. They sit down within one combat. They have the core dynamic down like that.
And that's one where you don't have to use a ton of dice.
Exactly. Really, you don't use the die 20, which again is really alien to a lot of people that are used to most games. The core die you use the most, a D20. You'll only time you roll a die 20 would really be for a fear test. But I like I said, the progression of stats and skills are based off of 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. I won't go into it too deep, but just say it's a really neat system. It's a lot of fun. Magic can really shine in the right hands, but that's like magic in most games, really. I mean, the yardstick, I think, sometimes of a good player to a great player is put a magic character in front of them, and the adequate player can do an adequate job, but in the hands of a really talented player, they can really do some awesome stuff. Well, this one is really neat because the magic's more freeform. Like you can go, all right, I have a bolt spell. But it's the player that goes, ooh, let me look at these little extras. Well, I can add a glow effect to it. Like when I hit them with the bolt, it'll light them up. They're going to be easier to hit for the next couple rounds. Oh, and I can do a thing where it's ongoing damage. Ooh, or I can make an armor piercing. Hey, so in the end, and these are things that everybody has access to without having to pay for it. So on the fly, you might just, the player's like, let me put my phone down. I have to go, I bolt, pick their phone back up. Oh, okay. But the one that goes, well, I'm going to bolt and I'm going to make it 2 points of armor piercing. And yeah, I'm going to add that effect that'll kind of harry them where it might slow them down, for a few rounds. Where, oh yeah, I mean, in the right circumstance, that's cool. And so to me, that's a big, I love playing casters, and that's a cool, but if you're someone like, oh, that sounds complicated, all of those are modular accessory rules. You don't have to do that,
Yeah, you can make that as rules light or as rule heavy as you want.
Absolutely. I've seen
you control the level of rules.
Yeah, you can layer them in, and so because we've had the people that are not that involved that are having fun, and the people that are like James Ward's playing, and he's just a brilliant guy. And you can see him, the ability that fighters have in Savage World Pathfinder is they can have access to any fighter edge. Edges are basically like feats from certain other games, but you can have access to any edge. Like he's novice level, you can have any novice level fighter feat. So in the moment he goes, ooh, I want to dual wield right now. Oh, wait a minute, I'm fixing to use my bow. I want archery skill, or what are the enhancer for that, or actually I want to take the edge, will make me better at knocking them over, tripping them, or something like that. So in the moment you can vary, like for this round I'm activating that warrior ability and I'm taking that given edge. It's kind of cool.
Yeah,
that's the smart, the smart players, fighters. I mean, when you go sometimes in other games, you're like, you're a pretty smart guy, you want to play a fighter, well yeah, swing. But in this, I mean, you can shine, kind of like in DCC. You have a D die. Well, I'm just going to have to hit and damage. I don't want to have to think. Okay. Or you might go, I'm going to try for an actual deed with my D die where I want to sweep the leg or disarm them or whatever.
It kind of makes me think of the utility spells for a wizard.
Yeah.
Where you're like, I've got the right spell for just this right occasion. Well, with that fighter, you can have the right feat for that occasion. So that's very cool.
No, it's really neat. I'm telling you, Pathfinder shines. And in a lot of games I find bards, nobody really wants to play them.
What?
It's like a little wink, no one's hardly played one yet. God, I haven't put it out there because I don't want to see anybody piling to playing them, but probably You can't have perfect balance in any role playing game. If you
But that's
do,
the broken
it'd be
thing.
boring. I'd say honestly, at pound per pound, because
You're that guy.
I'm a closet power gamer. The Bard is a little broke. You know, I mean, it's really good. But anyway, I'll say all of the first level classes are good. I wanted to see how good the Barbarian was. Figuring it'd be kind of boring. I'm playing a Barbarian. When I get a chance to play, I'm having a lot of fun with it. And you don't necessarily want to rage every time because you get levels of fatigue when you rage. And fatigue is pretty significant in Savage Worlds. Anyway, so like I said, oh yeah, so you don't use it out of 20 other than fear checks. Like I said, some people are kind of freaked out by that, which is amusing to me. I recently got my Fantasy Companion PDFs and my Supers hardbound. The books from Pinnacle, like I said, are very well made, laid out well, gorgeous artwork. And like I said,
A good price.
a really good price point. And for what it's worth, kind of like Joe Goodman, Sean Hensley or whatever, is just
Shane.
a super, super nice guy. Just super nice guy. And so I'm glad to see him winning. You know what I mean? Like, this is something I don't mind. Like, I hate to say it, I was going to leave it alone, but talking about like Black Hack, I'm not overly fond of the guy that wrote the game, but showing that I'm a big enough guy, it's a good game. Throw the guy a buck, even though I don't really like him. But on the other hand, Savage Worlds is a great game, but on top of that, Shane's just a super nice guy. I guess one more thing. Well, anyway, old school essentials.
Oh, and one more thing.
Oh yeah. Anything else you want to add about Savage Worlds?
No, but you're saying OSE,
OSE, yeah.
but don't forget to say Osric.
Wow, yeah. I tell you, let's just delve into Osric first.
No, you do it.
No, you do it.
You did it.
No, you say it.
How close are we to the end of this list?
Relatively
Is this about
close.
it?
No, there's one or two
Oh,
more.
Jesus Christ.
No, but I'll try to be brief. But anyway, Osric, our buddy John Hirschberger, who's involved with Black Blade Publishing, blah, they do Osric, and Osric is all the old first, second edition AD&D.
They're just a distributor, aren't they?
Yeah. But still, I think, don't they have their finger in the pie somehow? But anyway, great bunch of guys. There's a nice big hardbound book. And it's essentially, if you ever wanted a taste of what first, second edition D&D was like, get Osric.
It is first edition,
It is.
really.
It's basically first, but they added in a few things from second, I think. I feel like, didn't they? Maybe. But anyway, but regardless, it's basically first edition D&D. It's like the monster manual, the DMG, and the player's handbook all in one big hardbound book at a very reasonable
Under
price
30
point.
bucks.
Yeah, I think they're literally selling it at cost. So it's a labor of love. Because it's like, yeah, it's under 30 bucks.
It's laid out a lot better than the original books.
That's what I was getting at, was it's laid out better, and the
You can read it.
typeset won't make your eyes bleed. I've kept my old books for nostalgia's sake, and you can tell they've been lovingly used. I couldn't probably sell them, but yeah, trying to go back and read them now, oh God, that typeset is
So if I want to play
small.
first edition, I'm going to pull out Osric.
Well, and that was it. At one point, Hirschberger hooked us up with some books, and we bought them, like a case of them, and we had no problem selling them to some of our local players from the club and
went
whatnot.
quick.
Yeah, they went quick. And I was envious because I would love to have played, but it was during the weekday when I was working. But Eddie had a group going for a while there on weekdays, and the players showed up week after week to play essentially first edition D&D.
Get their asses kicked.
To get the crap kicked out of them by the guy who loves to kick the crap, you know.
But the thing was, they were far more rich and covered with magic items than any 5th edition character that level would be. So it was like, wait, how much gold do we get? That's right. High risk, high reward.
And I'll say this, that's the good thing about if you want to play something like Osric, you've got all those great old classic modules to play. You can get a taste of the good old days, play those modules. Then there's all the stuff that's come out in the last 50 years. You got 5 decades, because think about it, there were companies like Rolaids and Judges Guild that were making plethora of adventures for the original AD&D. Then you've got the company that came out years ago, Labyrinth Lord. Their stuff's fully compatible. This OSE stuff, it's fully compatible. So I'm saying, if you had Osric, you could play it. You could, and then all the stuff that's probably on Drive Through RPG and whatever, you could get.
So
those
if you
gems.
don't own the original first edition stuff, or you want to keep yours because they're in pristine condition, or they're beat to death, and if you turn the pages one more time, they'll fall apart.
Like mine.
Osric is perfect for that.
Absolutely.
And it's such a great value.
It really is. And again, John and them are some great guys. And the books, like I said, well laid out. The typeset's really, it's improved. So it's basically first edition, all in one place, definitely polished, and laid out better.
Which I think OSE is basic and expert is BX. And then if you get OSE advanced, that's when it turns into first edition.
That's when they layer in the advanced or whatever, which I was going to get to that. But definitely I meant to mention Osric. Definitely, and the only thing is it's old school. You're going to have the weird saves. You're going to have Thaco. But I'll say it's kind of like, I think that's why I'm really proud of Bradley. I think Bradley kind of encouraged you to run that. Am I right? Because he wanted that taste. Like, I want to see what you guys, the hill you had to climb up with barbed wire shoes when you first played D&D. I want to see what it was like back in the day. All right, kids, strap in. You're about to find out, what it was like. And so they got, and Ron has just recently discovered role-playing games, even though he's a few years our senior, but he got to have that experience too, and then Papa John, who was there at the dawn of gaming, he probably got to have that little nostalgia, him and Kathy, so
he got to remember why he didn't play any of that stuff. He ran that stuff.
So he got some of the abuse for once.
Yeah.
I love
well deserved
from the stories I've heard. Poor Jen got abused and traumatized, but yeah, so yeah, definitely I would definitely say, unless you're totally adverse to Thaco and weird saving throws, but even add that one to your library. I mean, literally those guys are selling that book at cost.
Yeah, and there's no reason you can't do a conversion on the fly either. You could change it around if you prefer.
Absolutely. And I could tell you, it's an easy way to invert armor class and all that. It's a super easy way to do it if you want to be more what you're used to.
But I think I'm going to pick up the OSE books at maybe the Long Con.
Off of Etten?
I've warned Etten, I was like, hey, if you bring them, you got them already?
Well, no, I bought the big book at last Long Con from Etten Games. It's somewhere on the shelf, should be, but I got the book that's basically got the advanced or whatever in it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Old School Essentials. The base game is a BX, is again basic expert D&D clone, but it's got a great layout, well-made book. The text won't make your eyes bleed. It's got ascending armor class, so they did do away with Thaco. It has a bonus book that brings in first edition AD&D concepts. They produced a number of quality modules, that is to say adventures, and all the old school stuff that's been made over the last 50 years is compatible with it. You'll just have to know how to invert armor class. I think they tell you how, and if they don't, it's pretty straightforward. Think Castles and Crusades, Labyrinth Lord, etc. Like, you could go get their modules and use them. You could use the old school modules. And again, back to Castles and Crusades, you could run all the old school D&D modules with Castles and Crusades. You can run Labyrinth Lord, OSE, whatever. All this stuff is fully compatible. So you've got a lot of good. You can cherry pick those best ones that got those 5 out of 5 ratings on Drive Through RPG or whatever. But they have a robust SRD online, as well as free generators for encounters, treasure hoards, etc. By all means, Jason, chime in, let us know, because I think he's been running a campaign of OSE, and he was kind of raving about it. He was having fun with it.
What's the one? Hole in the tree, hole in the stump,
like
something.
Yeah.
But there's one real classic OSE adventure that he said was really good, and I've heard nothing but good things about it.
Yeah,
so I'm probably going to pick that up too.
Yeah, and hopefully I'll get a chance to play if you run it, because I won't lie.
It'll be in the middle of the week.
What a guy. But no, I definitely would love to kick the tires on that. And it'd be cool if Jason maybe sometime, either NTRPG or even better at LongCon, if he ran a game of OSC, it'd be cool. And then one quick more aside, Basic Fantasy. This one I've seen a number of times on different places. Basic Fantasy, the PDFs are free.
Free?
And the physical books are sold at cost. And basically, again, it's like a BX clone. And some people really like it. But, and once again, it's one of those ones where you could try it free first. But, sometimes you get what you pay for. Those PDFs, they're free. But I don't really know anything about, I've never played Basic Fantasy. I've never played OSE, but I've heard rave reviews about it. And I've looked through the book, and the book, I started getting that itch. I was reading it like, man, I kind of want to play this. So, I think it's probably good. But definitely, there's so many options out there, and that's even like back in the day when I was still playing 5th edition. I would play 5th edition because it's a good game system, but I'd still play DCC because each one's good in its own way, and each one brings a certain, like, sometimes you want a steak, sometimes you want a hamburger, you know, I mean, you don't want spaghetti every night, you know, I mean, you want to vary things. So by all means, find some stuff you want to vary, you know, try some different games out.
All right. So you mentioned Labyrinth Lord a couple of times in there.
Yeah.
Are you going to say something nice about them or
Well,
something horrible about them?
The only sad thing is, and it's essentially, and it's kind of like, I'll say this, God bless the same guy, Goblinoid Games, that did Labyrinth Lord. They also did their post-APOC game, which the name eludes me, but it's on my shelf over there right now, in the post-APOC area of books. But that, for whatever reason, I was Facebook friends with their page or whatever. They recently went like radio silent. And people, I think, were saying that they think that because OSC is kicking ass on anybody. If you basically want to play old school BX stuff, that guy's dominating the market. I mean, he's kicking everybody's ass. So Labyrinth Lord's like, well, this was an homage, a labor of love to get people playing old school stuff again and playing BX and seeing the glory of it. And his was almost a straight up like, here, let me give you BX, but I can't hand you a blue and red book without getting sued. It was as close as you could kind of get with Labyrinth Lord. And it had its following. Greg Gillespie's Mega Dungeons are all based using the Labyrinth Lord system, at least originally. But I don't know this for a fact. I'm talking out of school, but I got the gist when people were saying that they think the guy's like, you know what? The old school rules and the OSR is alive and well. I did my due diligence, but I'm going to step back. And so you probably could still get Labyrinth Lord, and it's perfectly fine.
Yeah. But
I think it's kind of like, I don't think he's going to be putting the effort into printing more of it. Like you can, and I think he always allowed, you could get the PDFs off his website for free for both Labyrinth Lord and his post APOC game, which I have the hardback version of it, and it's great. It's definitely Gamma. Again, it's Gamma World. I mean, it's like he made as close to Gamma World as he could without getting sued using the what is those, the open role playing D20 rules, the thing that allowed people to make all this kind of stuff or whatever without getting sued. And it kills me that I can't think of his darn game, but it's over there on my shelf. And that's a good one too. I mean, it's basically, if you're like, I miss Game World and I love it so much. Well, now you can go on, I think, Drive Through RPG, or what's that other thing, Dungeon Master Drive Through or whatever, and you can download you can pay for a PDF of the old 1, 2, 3, or 4 Gamma World. But if you don't want to, again, throw money to WotC Bro, he's got his version of old Gamer World, and it's under that Goblinoid Games, and hopefully he'll keep that going, but he might let that die off too. But you can download for free a PDF of Labyrinth Lord, or damn, it's killing me, that post APOC game whose name I can't think of.
Well, it's right here, right?
Yeah, but I don't want to
just get up and look.
Okay.
Just do it. If he knocks anything over, then you'll know what's going on. But I just wanted to make sure that, since we mentioned them a few times, it wasn't, what do you want to call it, that we're putting them down by omission. So we went ahead to say nice things about them. The other thing that we haven't mentioned is Call of Cthulhu. That's another huge game that's out there. But I wonder how much people do of campaign play of Call of the Cthulhu. So that one's always a fun game. And probably more of these lead themselves to campaign play than Call of Cthulhu does. He is still looking for that book. I figured it would be quick and easy, but it wasn't.
No. Oh, Mutant Future.
Mutant Future, he says.
It was kind of stuck back in there, but Mutant Future. You can see it's Goblinoid Games. We're really far from the microphone.
He is.
But yeah, Mutant Future, and I've got the hardback, and it's not terribly big, but it's basically, I think, first edition Gamma World with a few, kind of spruced up, and yeah, it's great. And there's the
now, see, is this what you would say is maybe digest size?
Yeah, but it's look at how the paper quality's good. It's a good hardbound. It's got the ribbons.
Font size is pretty good.
Yeah, the artwork's pretty good. The font size, the layout, how it's laid out, and the fonts are pretty good. And it's basically,
Don't ask me why, but I'd rather have this.
Yeah, the 8x11.
Yeah.
Yeah, that their books, I will say, are that more digest size, which love it or hate it or indifference, whatever.
And then the one thing I will say about OSE was there's multiple books. So you're kind of like, which one am I supposed to buy to run this?
And I will laugh. That's the problem, is some people...
Because there's a player's handbook.
Exactly. It's kind of some people have gotten confused. Like, well, which one am I buying? Because I want to get the one that's more the original one. Well, I want to get the one that's more the it's got AD&D in it or whatever. So yeah, you have to kind of. Luckily, you got people like David who can go, oh no, this is the one you want.
But I think the rules tome is the all-in-one.
Yeah, I think there's one that's like an all-in-one.
And I think that's the rules tome for the basic, and then you can get a player's version, and then you can get the advanced, and there might even be one more book.
Yeah. I think there's like 3 core book, but don't quote me on that. But like I said, it's got quite the following, and
their 3 core books are not the traditional it's the Dungeon Master's Guide and the Player's Guide and the Monster Manual. Theirs are a little bit more there.
This has monsters in it. It's the Blink Dog, the Brigand. There's wilderness encounters. There's magic items. So yeah, this is definitely. But like I said, one thing we are kind of jumping around. But yeah, Old School Essentials. They have a really robust SRD, and that's like a reference that you can reference on the internet real quick if you didn't have your book with you, your smartphone or something. And like I said, they have some nice generators. Again, I love stuff like that. Your mileage may vary, but you can, if you want to make a quick treasure hoard on the fly. Click, boom. You have here's what's in the treasure hoard, so that's kind of neat. Or I want a random encounter, 3-hit dice, wilderness, click. Okay, there you go. And that's one thing I'll say, talking about kind of pooping on 5th edition. When I first wrote Mansion of Madness, I wrote it for Castles and Crusades. I knocked it out in an evening. When I went to translate Mansion Mass into 5th edition. Remember, it's a whole page for one monster description because of all that gobbledygook. And it's just like a lot of extraneous information I don't need. But then again, you might go, well, you've been doing this for a long time, Matt. Well, maybe that's it, But I like a lot of this old school stuff is a nice, quick, tight blurb for a monster.
Yep.
You don't need this full page, whatever. So anyway.
Okay, I hope you've enjoyed this episode of This Old Dungeon, which is a reference to how long this has dragged out. We are hitting the 2 freaking hour mark.
Wow, we've never done that before, have we?
I have tried and tried, folks, to get him to wrap up, but it just would not take. I've been patting my watch the whole time.
No, you fibber.
So for any of you that don't think we've expanded upon the topic enough lately, here you go. This is what your complaining gets you.
Yeah.
The punishments will continue until morale improves. But I guess since this was 2 hours, you get the best of both worlds. If you prefer the intro type stuff, our pop culture ramblings, there you go. You got a lot of it. And if you like to talk about the topic, here you go. So let us know, what system other than 5th edition are you playing now?
Yeah. Give us some tips, some insight. What do you like? What are your pros and cons of some of these systems if you've tried them? And what are some ones we didn't mention that you just love? Let us know.
Do you like the rules light or do you like crunchy? Do you need more rules?
I want Pathfinder 3,
All right. With that said, it's almost like run the clock up so we can hit that exact 2 hour mark, but let's not, because this is not going to get out in a timely manner now.
Yeah.
For one thing. So I can tell by the clock on the wall that you're all out of hit points.